they look like a team on a mission right now. Speaking of teams on a mission, let's go to the high school ranks where this week 1 and 2 played 3 and 4. This is 1 and 2 in 4A. Iowa City High taking on the defending state champs Iowa City West. City High gets on the board first. Jesse Hollins, 9 yards up the middle. City High up 7-0. He had 116 yards on the night. The Trojans would come back and tie it. Quarterback Nick Whistler finds a wide open Eric Tibazar, 43 yards on this one, 7-7 at that point in the second quarter. But City High, too much. Quarterback Mitch Price finding a wide open Khalil Hill, the son of J.D. Hill, the former NFL player, wide open. He caught 3 touchdown passes on the day. City High led it 14-7 at that point. They win at 28-7. They'll be number 1 when the polls come out this week.
No question about it, and Larry Brown got his revenge. He got beaten. He was beaten twice last year by West High. Right. So, and they will have to play again, Chuck. There's no question about it. These two teams will be playing somewhere down the line before this thing settles this fall.
Right, and a great game, and it will be a great game again. That's the 3rd time they've played in about, I think, 10 games.
They're probably getting tired of each other.
They're very familiar with each other. Two teams also familiar with each other, number 3 Ames and number 4 Dowling. Homecoming at Ames, a huge crowd of over 10,000 people at the game, and they saw a great one. Here, Dowling's Joe S. He takes the pitch, goes 9 yards around right in, 14-7 Maroons at this point in the second quarter. Ames would come back and tie it. Then on the last play of the half, Dowling kicker Josh Snowberger pounds a 37-yard field goal. Had plenty of length on that one. The Maroons led it 17-14 at the break. But the second half saw Ames' ground game get going. Aaron Grieving, just a sophomore, will break a tackle, and he'll take it 55 yards. He had 148 yards on the night. Just put the Little Cyclones up 21-17. Now, moments later, fullback A.J. Wilson will take it in 10 yards for the Little Cyclones. This made it 28-17 at that point. They would hang on to win it 35-31. They stopped Dowling in the final minute inside the 20. And the Little Cyclones, they'll be number 2 when the polls come out this week.
No question about it. It's a fantastic football game, people. There was 10,000 people there. It was an unbelievable electricity.
That's the word you're looking for.
It was just magnificent ball game. I got so excited watching how well it was coached, how well it was played. A.J. Wilson's the son of one of my former coaches, Jamie Burrows. So it's kind of very personal to me, and that's why maybe people wonder why I keep going to Ames games, because I have a real attachment to that. But magnificent game, and these two teams will probably have to do it again too, Chuck.
Well, they've met. That's the second time for them, and I think 6 or 7 games. Right. So the best teams from last year, still the best teams this year. But great high school football this last weekend in the state of Iowa. The coaches in that Ames-Dowling game, Kirk Daddow from Ames and Matt Dillon from Dowling, they're going to be our interview guests coming up after this break, and it's going to be interesting to see how their game plans worked out, because the interviews were done before the game. Right. Stay tuned for that right after these messages.
A game like this, where you can match your staff and your players against the very best staff and players, that's a great thrill for me, and I'm really looking forward to Friday.
The free live entertainment heats up this month at Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Highway 101 with Paulette Carlson fires up the stage for 2 big shows on Thursday, October 17th. Admission is free, so tell your friends and come on out for the party. Then stay to try your hand on more than 1,000 slot machines, only at your favorite place to play. Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Your favorite place to play.
For good food, good fellowship and fun, try Victor Sports Club in Urbandale. Their menu features delicious appetizers and great sandwiches. It's also a great place to meet and make friends. If you're looking for the perfect place to watch a big game, to celebrate a big victory, or just have a good time, Victor's is certainly for you.
Hi, I'm Tim Edwards, owner of Victor Sports Club. Stop in anytime for a good time. We're located at 7500 Douglas Avenue in Urbandale.
2 outstanding high school coaches. Let's see what they had to say about the game that had just been played.
It's a pleasure for Jim Walden and Chuck Reed and all of us to have Matt Dillon. We want to welcome you back to the state of Iowa. I understand, according to you. Tell us a little bit, Matt, about your background. You came here from Florida, so a lot of people think that's where you got your roots and what you've done, but you've been through Iowa before.
Oh, yes, sir, absolutely. I've got my undergraduate degrees from Cornell College. That's where I played my college football, and And my master's degree is from Iowa State. Of course, you're familiar with that a little bit. So, so I've spent a lot of time here in the state of Iowa. I've also been out in Montana and Florida, so I've kind of seen the country a little bit, but we like to call this home, and my wife and I are excited to be back here.
Is your wife from the state of Iowa? Did
Yes,
you meet
sir.
her in Cornell?
I met her at Cornell, and she's a Des Moines Roosevelt graduate.
Okay. Well, she's pretty happy. Aren't they doing pretty well? All right. Well, I know one of them's 4 or 5 and 0.
Yeah, they sure are. But she'll know what side of the stadium you sit on when we play. So,
all right. Well, Matt, let me ask you this question. We're talking, it's a big showdown. This interview will certainly be after the game is played. But what do you think going in, as we look back, what do you think you've got to do to beat Ames High? You got the 3 or 4 best teams in the nation, in the state 4A going head to head.
well, I'll tell you, I think the things that Ames does so well offensively is their balance. They've got a real nice passing game with Steve Rimmer, who throws the ball extremely well, and Burrow's a great receiver as a tight end, and Charter's got excellent speed outside, and they spread you all over the field, and then they run grieving at you as a running back, and he reminds me a lot of a young Troy Davis coming up there out of Ames, and you know, he's just an outstanding player, and he's only a sophomore, so they do a lot of things awfully well offensively, and then defensively they just line up and come after you, and you've got to be good enough to block them, and those are the things that they present problems with.
Okay, what are you doing offensively? What are you, a double wing, single wing, one back? What is your keynote? What are you going to try to attack them with?
Well, you know, we're looking at a lot of different formations, but our big thing right now, I think, is we've got to establish our running game with Joe Essie and Brian Ali and Jeremy Nixon and Willie Lawson. Those 4 guys have got to have a great ball game for us, and when we have the opportunity to throw the football, we need to be successful. So far, our QBs are completing about a 57 or 58% clip, so that's not too bad, and we're averaging about 10 yards an attempt. So when you look at our passing game, I'd say we've been very efficient. Our quarterback, Ben Ramont, you know, you look at the NCAA pass efficiency ratings, he's higher than anybody in the NCAA right now. His efficiency rating's at a 199 right now, and I think the highest in the NCAA is like a 186. So he has really thrown the ball well. We've thrown for 8 touchdowns and only 1 interception in 4 ball games. So we feel real good about where our passing game is right now, and we've got to take advantage of those opportunities as they present themselves in the game.
Okay, a replay. Last year, Don Morrow is not here. You've come into the beautiful, traditionally great team. Dowling High School's tradition goes 100 years. This team they went head-to-head last year, had a tremendous comeback in the, what was it, the semifinals, wasn't it, Chuck?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel that's a help? Will that be a carryover thing, a rally cry, so to speak?
I think it'll be a help for Ames. I know they've been looking forward to this since last November, so you know, I know they're gearing for this game, and our kids hopefully will rise to the challenge. You know, I see a lot of different things coming out of this. I think it's their homecoming, and I know they've got all these things, all these emotions going into the ball game, and hopefully that those emotions will play against them a little bit. I know our focus is it's an important football game. Just like any other game, it's a step on the ladder to get us to where we want to be at the end of the season in November. We're not so concerned with it's Ames High, it's 3 against 4. We've just got to take care of business, and hopefully we'll go play well, and I know this, we'll play hard.
Matt Dillon, good luck. I know you're going to play hard. It's nice to have you back in the state, and good luck Friday.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.
Well, you've heard what Coach Dillon had to say. Now let's go directly and hear what Coach Daddow has to say. The second half of our 3 versus 4 duo is Kirk Daddow, and we're just extremely happy to have the Ames High School football coach. This program will be airing after the game is over, so I'll ask you the same thing I asked Coach Dillon. What have you got to do, Coach Daddow, to beat Dowling?
Well, you know, actually, we have to put together 48 minutes of football because that's something we haven't done yet this year, and we've played extremely well at times, and we've proved that we can be just about as bad as anybody in the state too. So I think if we put 4 quarters together, I think it can be a close, exciting game.
Strength of your team. What do you feel like right now, offensive, defensively? What are you standing on? How have you won these ball games?
Well, I'm an old defensive coach. I came up through the ranks as a defensive coach, and I think you have to start with that side of the ball. I think we've been real sound defensively. I have a great defensive staff. And so, I mean, we want to get out there and try to control the ball defensively, and then we've relied on a good balance run and pass this year, and fortunately we've been able to have that. We've had a good running game, and I think we have a real effective passing attack at times.
Okay. Last time you played Dowling was one of the most exciting games for a person who didn't have anything to lose. For you, it was a reach into your heart and pull it out type game because you had a tremendous lead. You were in control. Last-minute heroics denied the game. Is that going to be a factor? Has too many guys moved on? Where's the last year's Ames-Dowling game in your mind as far as this year's team?
Well, you know, it really isn't very much in our minds. I don't hear the kids talking about it. You know, high school guys have awful short memories, and even though some of our best players were out on that field, I mean, this is this year, that was then, and right now we're looking to play Dowling because they're one of the best teams in the state, and if we can beat them, that would be a great thing for us.
Kurt, you've been in coaching, I think, well, I'll let you tell us. What years, how many years you've been, where have you been, and what's going on in your life of coaching?
Well, I've been 29 years coaching high school football in the state of Iowa, and 18 years, past 18 years in Ames. And, you know, I stay in coaching because, you know, I have the possibility of coaching in games like the one Friday. I don't like games that are out of hand. I wouldn't switch jobs with Tom Osborne right now. I don't know how he stands it out there on the sidelines in front of, you know, with all of those routes. But a game like this where you can match your staff and your players against the very best staff and players that's a great thrill for me, and I'm really looking forward to Friday.
Last question, put you on the spot. Is this team ranked pretty good with some of the teams you've had? If some of you've had some, and I want to say this, I want to thank you personally for all the athletes you provided us at Iowa State, because I think we had 6 of your players, and I've always said if all our guys that would have played and performed as hard as the athletes you provided us while I was at Iowa State, it would have been a little bit different story in some areas. But where's this team ranked in your mind, if you can?
Well, you know, I really think it can be as good as anybody we've had at Ames, any team we've had in the last 18 years. We've got some size that we normally don't have. We have some speed that we usually do have, and we've got good experience at crucial positions. So this could probably be the best team that we've had at Ames, but it isn't there yet.
Well, before I close, I'll tell you one thing. Is this Jimmy Burrow you got coaching for you, the same Jimmy Burrow that coaches for the Barnes? Everybody I interview's got Jimmy Burrow working for him.
I tell you, you know, Jim has come on and he's been a tremendous addition to our staff, and to have somebody who's been where he's been and can give us that kind of input on both sides of the ball has been really great.
Well, for all of us, we want to thank you for being on our show. And even though the game will be over before you see it, good luck Friday.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
You bet.
Two good coaches with a pretty good handle on that game before they played it going in.
You bet.
Very good interview. Coming up, another good interview with Merritt Norvell, the athletic director at Michigan State. Stay tuned.
I think because of our cooperative nature and the fact that we were tough with our own self-imposed sanction, we were able to come out with a decision by the NCAA Infractions Committee that we could continue to compete with, which I thought was good.
The free live entertainment heats up this month at Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Highway 101 with Paulette Carlson fires up the stage for 2 big shows on Thursday, October 17th. Admission is free, so tell your friends and come on out for the party. Then stay to try your hand on more than 1,000 slot machines only at your favorite place to play.
Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Your favorite place to play.
There's one seed company bringing you technology. Technology that yields.
Want to feel like a million? Play the Iowa Lottery's Daily Millions. Just take $1 and pick 6 numbers between 1 and 21. 2 red, 2 white, and 2 blue. Or let the computer pick. Match 2 or more for one of the 23 ways to win. Match all 6 and win $1 million in cash with up to 10 millionaires every day. It's easy to feel like a million because 2 red plus 2 white plus 2 blue could equal $1 million in green.
Iowa's Daily Millions.
Our next interview is with the athletic director at Michigan State University and the father of Jay Norvell, who is a quarterback coach at Iowa State. So let's go right now and hear what Merritt Norvell had to say.
It is a special treat for us here on the Jim Walden Show to welcome Merritt Norvell, who that name I know all of you around the Iowa State Des Moines area know. This man is not only the athletic director at Michigan State University, he's the father of the quarterback coach for the local guys here. So it's good to have you here in the state.
Well, thank you, Jim.
You just get in and got going good?
Got in about 45 minutes ago and just got unloaded and unpacked and down here in time to talk to you.
All right. Are the Spartans looking forward to a big ball game with
I
Iowa
think
State?
so. I think, you know, it's we've kind of been up and down this year. We've had some really key injuries. Nebraska kind of took us apart physically. We lost our middle linebacker. We lost our starting quarterback coach. Hope to have a middle linebacker back tomorrow. He's been out for the first 3 games after that. So this is going to be a real test for our squad tomorrow, but I think kids remember last year, and they're coming into Iowa City expecting to play hard and hopefully come out with a victory.
Okay, let's get to a little down news.
Sure.
I want to make it perfectly clear. The question I'm about to ask Merritt is of none of his doing, but the fallout from the regulations. You've now been put on some kind of probation, or you've been under sanctions. Has it been tough since you've been there? It's kind of hit you in the face almost from the time you got the job.
Well, I knew coming in that we were under investigation. I've been there 14 months now, starting my 14th month. This has been a 24-month investigation. It's taken a lot of time. It's consumed a lot of time. I think it was much more difficult recruiting when we were going through the investigation because there were a lot of uncertainties. Are you going to be on probation? Are you going to be able to go to a bowl game? Are you going to be on television? And there was all this speculation in the news. And of course, being in the coaching business, you know, all the guys competing against us were using that against us. So now that it's over, now that the sanctions have been rendered, we're not going to lose a bowl game. We're going to continue to be on TV. So it's given us an opportunity to compete, and I think that's what's good about it. And so our competitors can't say, don't go to Michigan State because you won't be able to go to a bowl, or don't go to Michigan State because you can't be on television. And so we're just thankful that we took the right approach. We were cooperative with the NCAA. We took a hard stand on some self-imposed sanction, took away 7 scholarships, took some coaches off the road, and I think because of our cooperative nature and the fact that we were tough with our own self-imposed sanction, we were able to come out with a decision by the NCAA Infractions Committee that we could continue to compete with, which I thought was good.
You have a son here in the state, but you also have another son, if I'm not mistaken,
That's
coaching
correct.
somewhere.
That's
now,
correct.
Tell us about him.
Well, our youngest son is Aaron, who played at Wisconsin, was the second leading tackler in the Big Ten when he graduated. He's kind of an undersized middle linebacker. He ended up playing in Europe for 3 years. This past year, he coached the outside linebackers for Amsterdam in the World League, and he is now the football operations person for the Fiesta Bowl in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
So we're all one big athletic family.
Okay. Are you going to get to see the Iowa State play in this year, or your schedule's so tied up that you won't be able to do it?
We came down and saw Iowa State. We had a bye week a couple of weeks ago, came down and watched Iowa State play Iowa.
Oh, okay.
In fact, we were in this very hotel about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And I believe my wife is going to be out to see him play Nebraska.
All right.
I don't know if I'll be able to make that game or not because of my schedule.
Well, since they got beat, I say, well, okay, it's a good deal to come, but earlier in the season I said, don't come see that one. I wouldn't want to go see anybody I know play that team, but I know everybody's proud of them. I know Danny's doing a great job. I know you're proud of them, and I know it's a stretch for you trying to be everything you're trying to be to get done at Michigan State University, and looking out to one eye and trying to watch one of your kids doing the same thing. You're both in some ways really got the same parallel things. You're trying to regroup, rebuild programs that were down or have had problems, so all I know is that we're glad to have you here, and I hear great things from my people. I have a lot of contacts in Michigan State, and they tell me they like you, and you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
And hope you have a good stay, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Jim.
We'll be back to wrap up this week's show right after these messages.
The free live entertainment heats up this month at Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Highway 101 with Paulette Carlson fires up the stage for 2 big shows on Thursday, October 17th. Admission is free, so tell your friends and come on out for the party. Then stay to try your hand on more than 1,000 slot machines only at your favorite place to play.
Racetrack and Casino. Your favorite place to play.
Trust. Perhaps the most important thing in your accounting, auditing, and income tax preparation needs. Experience. A team of dedicated and competent professionals who believe no job is too big or too small. Service. 7 offices located throughout the state for your convenience, featuring state-of-the-art systems. Shaneauer and Company, certified public accountants. Come in and let us show you that we are accountable.
Welcome back. Let's talk a little bit, Chuck, about next week's show. We think we've got a real good one coming up. I've got Jim Williams, the fine undefeated head coach of the Simpson Storm, and R.C. Slocum, the Texas A&M, what I call the regrouping, Texas A&M Aggies. So it looks like another big week for sports coming in, and we're just excited about it.
Also some big games next week. Iowa State back in action against the Aggies of Texas A&M. UNI starts Gateway Conference play, and the Hawks play again against Indiana. So we'll have some good games next week, too.
Well, we think we'll have another outstanding group of games. We'll have outstanding people, and the world, the baseball continues.
Yep.
So for Chuck Reed, this is Jim Walden saying, always be a good sport.
You've been watching the Jim Walden Good Sports Show with Jim Walden and Chuck Reed. The Jim Walden Good Sports Show has been brought to you by Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino, Pioneer Hybrid, the Iowa Lottery, Victor Sports Club, and Shaneauer and Company.
Tonight,